Hello and welcome to 5-Minute Math. Today we are looking at the Algebra 1 concept of evaluating functions. This is standard A.12B in the great state of Texas, and we are using item number 14 of the 2021 released STAAR test. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and take a moment to pause the video, work this problem out on your own, unpause it, and we will look at our answers together. So we are given this function here. We need to evaluate p of 7. Okay, what exactly are we doing here? Well, we have something that we call function notation. Now, most of us are used to seeing it as f of x. In this case, it's p of x. So what's the difference? Nothing really. All that means is we've named our function differently. So when we say f of x, the f doesn't really stand for function, even though that's an easy way to remember it. That means it's function f. So we've named the function with the letter f. In this case, our function is named p. And then this x here, that's going to be our independent variable value. Remember, functions are mathematical relationships where every input, in this case our input is the x, leads to just one output. So most of the time we'll kind of view that as our y coordinate if we wanted to graph it. And so in this situation what we're doing is we're going to evaluate one part of the domain, because functions have domain we can evaluate, they have a range that we could evaluate and describe. If you were to graph a function, you would be able to do a vertical line test, right? Let's say we're graphing a parabola. Vertical line test lets us know we're only going to hit the graph one time because it is a function and there's only one y value that matches with each x value. Each x leads to one y. So we want to take part of the domain and we want to evaluate that separately, p of 7. So when we say p of 7, all that means is we're going to, you notice how that 7 was substituted in for the x? Yeah, you guessed it. We're just going to substitute in 7 for the x. So instead of that x minus 15, I'm going to write 7 minus 15 squared plus 2. So once you get that written down, all this is just practice for PEMDAS. And we've been doing PEMDAS since 5th grade, 6th grade. Let's make sure we remember. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. It helps us remember parentheses come first, exponent second. Now, when we multiply, when we divide, those are inverse operations that are equal. So you can actually divide before you multiply if you see that first left to right. Same with addition, subtraction. You can actually subtract before you add if you see it coming first left to right. So the first thing we're going to do is handle whatever's in that parentheses. And if there's multiple operations within the parentheses, you actually have to use the PEMDAS within the parentheses. In this case, there's only one operation within the parentheses. That's subtraction. So we need to take care of that first. So we're going to say -4. Now this 7 minus 15 is going to be -8 squared plus 2. All right, so now we've got to take care of our exponent first, or our exponent next. And that's going to be -4. -8 squared is going to end up being positive 64 plus 2. So then all we are left with is going to be just a multiplication and an addition. So let's see what our -4 times 64 is going to be. That's going to be -256 plus 2, which means p of 7 is going to equal the 256 is going to move a little bit closer to 0, so -254. But obviously, we have to be able to graph that or fill that in. There is no F, G, H, or J to choose from. So we got to do two things here. We have to first hit 254. Let's move it all the way over to the right. But we also need to make sure we pick up that negative. So those are two little bubbles off to the left and right. We're going to hit that negative off to the left and then bubble in 254 and we're good.